chilling. I just crawled in bed, and something inside me was begging me to speak. So here I am. My throat was just like, say something. And I've had a list of things that I've wanted to talk about, and tonight I think what's pertinent and relative is my ladybugs. I have two ladybugs here, both of which I sleep with every night. I'm a 32-year-old man, and I have two stuffed animals. And they are more than just stuffed animals. I've done so much work, internal work, um, with my stuffed animals. They represent, you know, deeper inner parts of myself, my child self, and some very vulnerable pieces of my heart, my soul, and and so I cuddle with them every night, and I love them to death. Oh my God, I love them. There's just something so comforting, and there's so much. Mwah, mwah. I love them so much. There's a deep amount of surrender and peace that I get from holding them, and getting into that space where I love myself and I get to really nurture myself. And it really comes back to those pieces of ourselves that we've been separated from, and trying to integrate our fractured traumas and pasts into our wholeness, and trying to show them that hey, we're an adult now. You don't have to carry the burden of what happened anymore. You don't have to hold and brace yourself against the trauma that you experienced. Because when if you're not informed on how trauma kind of works in our psyche, what it does is it kind of splits us, and there's a lot of like parts that hold it, and those parts become can become dysfunctional pieces of our personality and the way we interact with the world, and there are things that have kept us alive and saved our lives. I mean, for me, it was stealing. It was being angry and lashing out. I was like really wild when I was younger. You wouldn't think it, knowing me now. I'm pretty tame. And, in the past 10 years of living in this town in Asheville, I was in the midst of healing and, in the midst of dealing with the trauma. So I was dealing with it. So it was very like in it emotionally, and like in a very like kind of calm, quiet, and reflective space. But when I was younger, I was off the wall. I mean, I was, in more ways than one. And so, like I said, stealing and like, vandalizing, and and like punk rock, was my outlet for aggression. And it was also a tool. It was a community. It was a way to take that anger, and instead of letting it isolate me, find community and common ground with other people experiencing the same feelings, even though I didn't know what they were or why I was feeling them. So anyways, I just wanted to share my ladybugs, and I wanted to tell you about a story about why I have ladybugs. Because, why there's obviously a theme here, because I have two. And One, this guy, his heart says Valentine because I'm a Valentine's Day baby. Um, February 14th, 1989. Represent. and uh, and so um, yeah. So when I was on the street, my buddy Andrea Guido from Italy, from Piemonte, near Turin. Cisterna di Asti is his village, and he was a photographer, and he was traveling with me, and I kind of broke down to him. He was like my angel. Oh my god, like he was about to leave me on the beach in Venice Beach, California, because I was just like so undecisive, and I was just like pushing him away. I didn't know why I was feeling the way I was feeling, what all this trauma was that was coming up when I was on the street, and I told him what happened on the beach there as he was about to leave, and he decided, he said, I'm not going to leave you, and he held, he really held space for me. He was just like a guardian angel, and he's my brother to this day. We keep in touch and talk on Facebook Messenger and video chat. He has 2 kids now, and so we were in Southern California, and excuse me, we're in Southern California, and Andrea and I are in Barstow, which is, if you don't know Barstow, not many people do, but it's on Route 66. It is a meth. I would consider it like just in the middle of nowhere, kind of like a military depot town, like right outside of like a military base, and it's a railroad town. That's why we were going there to catch a freight train. That's why I came through there before that. Anyways, so Andrea and I ended up sleeping next to a discount food store that night. It was the first time he'd slept out, and it was really difficult for him. And I completely understand why, because that's being homeless is not easy, and it's scary because you don't know who's gonna come up on you or whatever. Especially while you're sleeping. So the next morning, we're at this park, and this guy out of nowhere. I mean, man, this crazy shit happens when you're out there. But this isn't that crazy, but this guy out of nowhere like parks his car, comes up to us with like some beef jerky sticks. It's like, you guys hungry? Here, take these. And we took them, and the next thing Andrea does is he like sees a ladybug on my shirt, and me and him were I was in a really hard place because I was like resurfacing like sexual trauma. So like, I was hurting. I was really hurting. Holy shit. But man, but I'll tell you. And yeah, so he pulls this ladybug off my shirt, and he looks at it, and he's like, Jeff, do you know what this is? I say, no, what is it, Andrea? And it's like, what? What are you going to show me? And he's like, this is good luck. And I was like, from that moment on, I don't know, some people call it appropriation if you like talk about animal totems or whatever. But for me, like, God, those things started showing up in like my most difficult times, and they gave me so much hope. I would just see them, they land on me and all sorts of stuff. It makes me think of Under the Tuscan Sun. If you've ever seen that movie, the woman wakes up. She's talking about a time when she woke up from sleeping and she was covered in ladybugs. And there's just something so like nurturing and loving, and like there's just this like spirit behind ladybugs, and so I have 2 of them. Anyways, I hope you have a good night, and I just wanted to share all that, and I love you all so much. Thanks. Bye.